Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, this video is intended to be an introduction for new players who are thinking about checking out the MMO Star Wars The Old Republic. Whenever you start a new MMO, it can be a bit of an overwhelming experience. So the point of this is just to show you how a couple of things work so that you can just get right into it and not feel quite so overwhelmed. And hopefully to answer a couple of early questions you have. So, I'm going to be making a Republic side character. And once you mouse over it, it gives you a bit of a rundown real quick, as you can see up top there. Founded 20,000 years ago by explorers and diplomats, the Galactic Republic is a vast democracy led by the Supreme Chancellor. The Republic is a chaotic amalgam of many worlds, corporations, and species, which often clash with each other. Then there's the Empire, a rigid, militaristic society where aliens are subjugated and the Sith Lords are supreme. Aliens basically being non-humans, and pure-blood Sith are the main high society races, typically. And anyone who is not either pure-blood Sith or human is basically considered like a second-class citizen. So that's what that means by aliens. They are subjugated by the Sith Lords supreme. The Empire is ruled by the mysterious, all-powerful Sith Emperor. To Imperial citizens, power is everything. Only the strongest ascend to glory. So I'm actually making a Republic side character this time. So this is the introductory screen once you pick your faction. And these classes are all mirrored on the opposite side. So everything is essentially even. So you've got your trooper, which is effectively like a stormtrooper. Only, obviously you're not a clone. This is well before any of that went down. You've got your smugglers. That's like your Han Solo type. You've got your consular. These guys, I guess think of them more like casters. They use the Force more so than their lightsabers in general. And then you've got Jedi Knights, which are your melee class guys. Now up at the top here, they show you a bit more information about each class. In particular, I'm going to be doing a Jedi Consular. So I'm probably going to be focusing on that. But for case in point, equipment, it shows generally the type of equipment they'll use, and I can actually explain that by looking at this where it says advanced classes, which will show you what you can eventually move into. So the way the game works is once you get to level 10, you choose your advanced class. So if you're a Jedi Knight, you choose between Guardian, which is the guys with heavy armor and one lightsaber, and you can choose between either a tank class, which basically makes it means you're a meat shield, basically. Your job is to get people to attack you instead of your teammates, and particularly the healer. The tank-healer combo is pretty important. Healers are going to be very important to your success on, say, flashpoints. If you're in PvP, you'll be very important in keeping the healer alive. Then you've got damage, which is often referred to as DPS. Now, if you go Jedi Sentinel, you get 2 lightsabers, and you have your choice between 3 damage trees. So, yeah, that's pretty much how they work. Again, I'm going to be doing a consular, but let's take a real quick look at smuggler, so I can show you that one. So, if you decide to go for the gunslinger, you get 2 blasters, and you get your sharpshooter, which is basically you shoot from range. It's like you're a pistol sniper. Or you can use Saboteur or Dirty Fighting, which the Dirty Fighting in particular works along using damage over time effects. Or if you go Scoundrel, you get to use Stealth. You get like a Stealth field generator. You use 1 blaster, and you have a heal spec here, or a heal discipline, pardon me, used to the old terminology. Scrapper, which is you just pop out of Stealth and just start punching, and yeah, you punch people a lot. So if you want to make like a martial arts style guy, that's the closest thing you can do. And then there's Ruffian, which mirrors the Dirty Fighting tree. These trees are very similar to one another. Let's take a look at the Trooper real quick. I've played a number of Troopers. They're a fun class to play. So you've got Commandos who use these really big blaster cannons, and they can either be your healers, or Gunnery, or Assault Specialist. I play Gunnery a lot on my Commando. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that spec. You can put out a very steady stream of damage using that. Or you can go Vanguard, where you use a blaster rifle, and you can be either tank, plasma tech, or tactics. And those are actually two decent damage trees. I'm more familiar with gunnery, because one of the early characters I made a long time ago was gunnery, and I had so much fun playing them. Still play them now, actually. So, consular. For consulars, these are the more caster-style classes. But if you take Jedi Shadow, I guess you could consider them like a fighter mage. You use a dual lightsaber, kind of like what Darth Maul used in Episode 1. And you get a tanking tree, or you've got these two damage trees here. The infiltration one is similar to that scrapper one that's used by scoundrels or smugglers, where you pop out of stealth, and with them you do a lot of punching, but with this one, infiltration, you do a lot of stabbing. So you just pop out of stealth, sneak up on your opponents, and you just get right into them. Now, on the other side, you've got Jedi Sage, and these are more like the caster types. You've got Seer for healing, telekinetics, which is the opposite of with the Sith would be doing with like a lot of lightning. You instead use telekinetics, so you'll be ripping rocks out of the ground and whipping them at people. And then there's balance, which I haven't actually played that one too much. I think balance, it works more on like stealing health from your opponents. Don't have a ton of experience with that, to be honest, but since this is the class I plan on making, I'll have a chance to look into that later. So, that's just a quick overview. If you want more information, just let me know in the comments. I can definitely get into detail on any of these classes if you're new and looking for more experience. And if you go to the official forums, there's a lot of knowledgeable players on there that can help you as well. So I'm going to pick a consular. Now, normally you'd have a lot fewer selection as far as what races you can play as. In effect, there's not really much of an in-game effect for whichever race you decide to play as. It's mostly aesthetic. But if you've been playing for a long time, once you get a character to level 50, I think it's 50, or it might just be when you finish your story, you unlock that race for any characters you make in the future, and you share a pool of experience among all your characters, which is called Legacy Experience. Now, since I've completed the storylines in the game on a number of characters, I've unlocked some of these that wouldn't normally be here. For example, actually, I think you can play these guys by default anyway. Marillion, Twi'lek. People are very familiar with Twi'leks from the movies. You've got Zabrak, Knights with the Horns, Miraluka. These are the guys that I guess they just have black sockets for eyes. So, because that kind of freaks people out, they usually wear some kind of a face wrapping. You get the Chiss, and the Chiss normally, I think by default, you typically see them as being either a bounty hunter or an Imperial operative on the Imperial side. But I leveled the Chiss up. You've got Cyborg, which I don't believe Cyborgs by default can be Jedi. Because I think by the lore, typically the cybernetics would interfere with your Force abilities, if I understand it right. Then you've got the Imperial side Zabrak, which is typically the Dark Red, and the Ratataki. I haven't really thought too much about what race I wanted to play. It would be kind of neat to do a Chiss. I think I have a couple of Chiss characters. I'm drawing a blank if I've actually leveled the Miraluka all the way up. I don't think I've ever really done one of them. But I've also never done a Twi'lek. Well, let's go for Miraluka. And I'm going to make it a guy.
The best way to win is by not fighting.
So, this is just some quick tools you have access to customize the look of your guy. There's not a ton of options, but they give you a decent amount to play with. A lot of the customization will, in the end, come from your costume. Because there's a ton of in-game gear that you can play around with, and then you get different dye packs. I don't want him to be that muscular, and I'm not going to make a heavy guy. So I'll probably go right down the middle. Use this one. Let's pick a face for this guy. I mean, since I'm going to have something covering my eyes, a lot of these faces in the end aren't going to make much of a difference. Let's see here. Well, that one looks good. Not going to bother with scars. Complexion's fine. Let's take a look at some of these masks. That one's pretty sleek. Looks like I've got some cool sunglasses. But I do like the one that was already on by default. I'm Oh, I like that one too. Let's go back here. Yeah, well, actually, I like that one. Okay, what are we gonna do with this guy's hair? That's not bad. Yeah, because I think this is with minus the mask, this would be one of the more this would look more Asian, which is fine by me. I'm gonna leave the hair there. Actually, I kind of like the silver hair. It makes him look more mature. Yeah, that's good. Now the hard part, coming up with a name. A lot of people like to use special characters like European lettering, where they'll have like the 2 dots over an O, for example. I'm gonna try to come up with something half decent. Let's see here. Hey, got it on my first try. Tenitris, the spelling might be a little bit off, but that's Latin for lightning or thunder. I think thunder, which fits if this guy winds up being a telekinetic. So, first thing you're going to see is a loading screen, and a lot of times you'll see these tool tips here that are in the bottom center. Just bits of advice for newer players. A lot of it will become very common knowledge to you as you get familiar with the game. And, yeah. Oh yeah, actually, seeing that symbol there, the cartel coins is an extra form of currency in the game. If you subscribe, they give you, I think, 500 cartel coins a month. Otherwise, you spend cash for them, and then you can buy a bunch of in-game perks with it. Excuse me, some people like it because if you don't want to subscribe, which is about $15 a month, you can spend maybe $5 on cartel coins, unlock the stuff that you want to customize your experience, and just go with that. Although, honestly, I'd advocate subscribing because it's fun, and I think you get your money's worth out of it overall. I've been playing the game for quite a while. I did have to pause my subscription a couple of times, but I always come back because I do, in general, like the game. Now, I'm going to talk about the disciplines and stuff a little bit later. I mean, as a new player, you don't really need to worry about the discipline thing until you get to level 10. So I'm just going to close that. And just real quick before they start talking, Tython, that's the planet I'm on. That's the population. So there's about 126 people here, and that's some in-game mail. And I subscribed. I pre-ordered the game, so I've got a ton of stuff by default that loads on all my characters. And this is the chat window. So if you tap enter, you can send messages. So if you're trying to find help or ask questions, you can either click here, just click on where it says general, or you hit enter. And you can try talking and communicating with people on the planet that you're on. And this should be the first conversation for my character. So.
Padawan, I heard your shuttle arrive. I am Master C.O. Bakar of the Jedi Council. Welcome to Tython. This is the ancestral home of our order, where the Jedi first came to be, and where our most promising Padawans complete their training.
So now this is a typical thing for like a BioWare game. People talk to you, and then you have your options of 1, 2, or 3. And depending on how you answer in certain situations, it can actually earn you light or dark side points, which can affect what gear you equip. If you want to roleplay your character as being more dark side inclined, there's certain items, certain like relics that help your stats out, or there's certain lightsabers that can only be used if you have a certain light side or dark side rating. And if you go dark side enough, it'll actually change your appearance. Your skin gets really pale if you're more light skinned, and you'll see like these red veins going all over your body, and your eyes change color as well. Light side doesn't have any real physical changes that I've noticed. I have a couple of characters that are max light side, so I'm excited to be here.
Chance to see where the first Jedi walked, train where they trained. It's quite an honor. So eager. You and your new master should get along nicely. Your instructors tell me that even in childhood you had a remarkable connection to the Force. We haven't seen such power in decades. I was hoping your new master would be here. Yuan left her dig site and is returning to Tython specifically to train you.
I hope I'm worthy.
It sounds like Master Yuan's putting a lot of faith in you. We haven't even met. Trust in your initial training. And never forget the Jedi Code. There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force. This is... Yuan, I was beginning to worry.
So you've arrived safely, my Padawan. I'm sorry I can't greet you properly, but we already have a crisis on our hands.
I stand ready.
I'm at your service, Master.
Python is a treasure trove of ancient Jedi relics. Recently, our researchers uncovered several teaching holograms, but they've not been fully studied. These holograms may be records of the founders of the Jedi Order. They're absolutely irreplaceable. But a large group of flesh raiders has begun rampaging through that region. Those priceless holograms are in danger.
Perhaps we can save them.
Is there a way to protect the holograms?
Someone must slip past the flesh raiders to recover these holograms' projectors. I intend this to be the first task of your training.
No, Yuan. You can't risk a Padawan against flesh raiders, even for such important artifacts.
A Padawan who is stronger in the Force at 4 years old than I was at 15? Gifted students need greater challenges.
I understand my task.
So I must recover these holograms and watch for flesh raiders. Where should I begin?
The holograms are in the Gnarls. Be vigilant. That region has dangers of its own. If you encounter any difficulties, contact me on this holo communicator. When you have the holograms, meet me at the Jedi Temple. We have much to discuss.
Okay, now I think it's about time to get into the game. So by default, you see this little symbol over my head. It basically means that I'm a consular and I haven't picked my advanced class. And the bottom center here is my skill bar. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is turn on sprint. This is how fast you move without it. Turn it on, and now the icon appears above my level, and see I'm moving much faster. So just a real quick look at the controls. If you look at down where your left hand is if you're on your computer, you see W, A, S, D. Those are the keys that you move around with. W forward, S back, A will spin you around, D will spin you around the opposite way. And if you combine them, you can run and turn. Now, what a lot of people suggest you do is actually you use the mouse. You hold down the right mouse button and you can spin it around, and which is just a lot faster and more efficient. And if you're more comfortable with it, if you hold down the right and left mouse buttons at the same time, you can just move and steer that way, and spacebar so you can jump. So I'm going to pass through this green doorway here, which is basically means it's an instance, but only I can go in there by default. If someone's in your group, you can select an option so that they can go in there with you. And now that I pass out, it turns red. I cannot go in there anymore. And you can see there's a couple of other new consoles right out here. So, if you look down at the skill bar in the bottom center there, because I don't think my mouse shows up with this recording program. Number 1 is a basic saber strike. Number 2 is project. You rip some stones and debris out of the ground and hurl them at your opponent. 3 is a double strike, where you take 2 fast swings with your lightsaber. Number 4 is actually a legacy ability that I unlocked because I've been playing the game for a while. If I hit that, I basically get rockets come out of my shoes and I move real fast. The sprint we've already talked about, and that's a set it and forget it ability. You set that once and you should never need to turn it on again. I'm going to help this guy out here by using my number 10 ability, Force Valor. Yeah, that's my good deed for the day. Now, Force Valor, what that does is it increases the target's strength, aim, willpower, and cunning, which are all the main stats for the different classes. And internal and elemental damage reduction by 10% for 60 minutes. If the target's a group member, all other members are also affected. So if I was in a group of, say, 4 people, and I use this ability, I get the benefits and so does the party. Now, you'll notice that a couple of other icons showed up, and I'm just going to go over them real quick. Force Might is the ability that Jedi Knights get. Lucky Shots is from a smuggler, and Fortification is from a trooper. It's a legacy perk that if you finish Chapter 3 with a character, you unlock the class buff for everybody in your legacy. And so since I've done that, I get them all whenever I use one of those, which is very handy. But it takes a little bit of game time to get that perk. The next one down here is Quick Travel, which once you unlock quick terminals, you can quickly move between them. and meditation is how you heal up after combat. You'll restore your energy. The bottom bar is like my force energy for my attacks, and the top end is my health. Now, you can customize your user interface. Just going to zoom out on the mini map. That's my preference. I'm going to mess with this a little bit. Now, this is what it's like by default, and it's totally fine. I'm just used to it the way that I customized it, which I think is... I always mess this up. There we go. This is just how I'm used to doing it, and if you want to play around with that, where the number 1 ability is in the bottom center screen where my abilities are, to the left is a plus sign. If you click on that, you can hit Open Interface Editor, and then don't freak out, it's going to get crazy on the screen, and you see all this shows up, which, as a new player, is probably an information overload. But what you want to do is just take it one piece at a time. So this is my player frame. I can shrink it, I can blow it up, I can move it around. I generally like it right about where it is. I think that's a good spot. And you can customize the user interface to the way you like it. Actually, there we go. So, the other thing I'm going to do real quick is, just because it's how I'm used to playing it, I'm going to set a couple of hotkeys by using preference. I hit escape to bring up that option menu, preferences, and then key bindings. And quick bar. So my number 1 ability I'm going to set to the letter Q. Second ability to shift in Q. My third ability to the E key. That way, while I'm using the WASD keys to move around, I can just reach up with my index finger while keeping my middle finger on the W, moving forward, and I can just tap in. I don't know if you can tell, but the number's flat. The number's blinking on number 1, and now for number 2 and 3. It's almost a necessity if you want to do PvP, because if you're just standing there static, you're going to get killed. Yeah. So real quick across the top of the screen, just to get you a little bit familiar with all the stuff up here, is the first one is your character sheet, and by default there's the hotkey of C, so I'm going to hit C, and this is my character sheet where it shows all the equipment I'm carrying as well as a brief look at my stats, which this isn't really a ton of important information when you're starting. As you get to the Elder game, like after you max your level and finish your storyline, then you can look more into fine-tuning your gear. But at the start, it's not really important. This box here is your inventory. I'm just going to put those off there just in case. They start you off with a couple of basic med packs, which heal up a little bit of damage. This triangle symbol is my quest panel by default. And these other options aren't really important for the time being. So the Path of the Jedi, and it gives you some information on your quest. So if you get stuck, you can't remember what you're doing, you can read this text. Basically, it's going to take a taxi out, which is very simple, and you can pick it up from there. And they also show you the rewards you get. The Strongholds menu is not really important right now, but basically, once you get enough in-game currency, you can buy a house, basically. Combat proficiencies, which is the discipline window. Now, again, I'm not level 10 yet, so I can't touch any of this. But once I hit level 10... I'll get access to be able to pick between being a sage or a shadow. Since I already have a shadow, I'm going to do a sage this time around. I haven't played a sage in a while. I started a while ago, but then dropped it off, and I want to give it another go. Let's see here, the legacy panel. And if you open this up, it's a lot to take in, but basically this row of stuff right here, there's different kinds of ways you can level in the game. PvP, general player versus environment content. You can do space missions where you upgrade your ship. Every class gets a ship, and you can upgrade it and do some space combat, which is basically an on-rail shooter. And yeah, and then you can unlock some characters depending on if you've done the quests for them or bought them in game. And there's some ones to help you travel around. A lot of this stuff isn't very important, especially when you're starting off. This is more to give you a rough overview, so you have a rough idea of what you're looking at once you start the game. The social windows for your friends tab. This is a new character, so I haven't met anybody yet. Let's see here. Guilds. I'm currently not in a guild. And your crew window, you can craft in this game. There's a fairly extensive crafting system in the game, but you need your companions to do that. As you progress through the game, people join you, and they're like AI companions, and you can customize their gear as well. You can even customize how they look, and you can use them to craft. You can even set them to do crafting jobs while you log out. there's a set timer for how long each job takes them to do. So you can set them to do a few jobs, turn the game off, go to bed, wake up, and stuff should be done. And then there's the game menu, which I pressed escape to look at earlier. And customer service. Never really messed around with this too much, but if you have a problem with something in-game, that's basically how you get in touch with customer service. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click on this guy. It's the only destination I can take. I'm going to take a speeder ride. And I'm going to hold down the left mouse button and just kind of spin the camera around so you can take a look at how gorgeous this is. It really is a nice looking game. I think I'm playing at 1080. Yeah, I think I'm playing at 1080p. And there. So now there's a bit more stuff out here. A bunch of these guys in green, can't really do much with them. Some of them, yeah, you can't really interact with any of these guys. And this right here, which it's already unlocked, but that's a quick travel terminal, so that if you look down that bar, which I think would be number 11, quick travel, using that ability would help me jump right back here. So you'll probably see on the mini-map on the bottom right corner, there's that yellow triangle. Now, yellow triangles are quest givers. So if you see one of those, that's a chance for you to pick up a quest. So, simple right-click, and he'll tell me what he needs.
The training grounds are not safe today.
What's the matter?
Tell me what's going on. I may be able to assist.
Your Master Yuan's Padawan, yes? So you've got combat training. Okay, maybe you can help. The short version is, we have flesh raiders invading the training grounds, and a group of Padawans without combat skills is trapped in the hills.
So I can refuse the quest, or I can use one of these two responses. I'll use option 1.
Master Yuan mentioned the natives briefly.
They are a savage people who occasionally raid the local settlements and devour those they kidnap. Before today, we thought they didn't understand technology, but they're packing blasters and vibroblades and turning them on Padawans who aren't trained to defend themselves.
Okay, tell me what I can do.
Just let me know what's required. I'm here to help.
I've got a beacon here. If you can find the Padawans and set the beacon, we'll send an evac shuttle as fast as we can. A group of Jedi from the temple is headed this way, but maybe not fast enough. May the Force be with you.
Okay, so... Oh, wasn't paying attention, got stuck there. If I press M, it'll open up my map. This is where I am here, that yellow pointer there. And so the first quest I got was from the master there at that opening cinematic, and I need to get to these 4 objective markers, which are like the yellow triangle with green on the inside. Those are my objectives. In addition to that, somewhere in this area over here, on the up to the right, is the Gnarl's Early Lessons, and that's the quest I just picked up from that Jedi I was talking to. So these are the 2 quests I have. And so now I'm just going to show you real quick how combat basically works. Before I mention how I set my hotkeys. So, oh, that guy might be in trouble. That's my number 3 ability, and number 1, and he's down. The early guys are very weak, and I'm going to use my telekinetic throw there. That stuns him. And looks like this guy might be away from his keyboard, so I'm going to help him out. And I'm going to use my class buff on him. And there we go. There. Hopefully he gets out of there. Oh, this is actually interesting. This guy here is a level 39 Vanguard, and they're not... This is the starting planet for Jedi, so he's probably here... he might be role-playing with somebody if he's hanging around with this guy here. Curious. Or maybe he's recruiting. Looks like they were dueling or something. Interesting. Every now and then, troopers show up on here. So, I'm just using my early abilities, because this is like the opening area. It's not difficult. And actually, I did that too quick to explain what happened. Sometimes when you're fighting these basic enemies that just show up as red, sometimes they drop loot. I'll use my rock, and a double swing. And another double swing here. Yeah, these guys didn't drop anything. But basically, you'll see a blue beam of light shooting straight up out of them. And you can get yourself some loot. And if you open up your inventory, He dropped this ration pack, which it's no use. You just sell it. It's just for money. Oh, and he actually dropped something I can use. So I'm going to right-click and equip that. Now it's bound to me, so I can't trade it to anyone else. But I actually found a weapon that boosts my stats. And also, as you see, this cage is lit up blue. That means you can click on it. It's an interactable object, and since there's a triangle above it, I know I can pick up a quest from this. So, dead Padawan's in the cage. Succumb to his wounds. The Flesh Raiders have apparently been trying... Oh, that was too quick. Basically, Flesh Raiders are kidnapping people. So, you want to go to as many of these cages as you can find and release the captives. As it says on the quest there, under captured Padawans, I need to open up 6 of those cages. So someone beat me to that one. That's no big deal. There's plenty around. And the way it works is objectives reset eventually. So as someone just opened up that cage, if I stand next to it for a few minutes, eventually it'll light up blue again, and I'll be able to open it up. It's how you bounce it around because you can't really share objectives unless you're in a group. All right, easy level up. Now, let's see here. No, I forgot to check my mail. Normally, when you level up, you have to go see a trainer, and then you can unlock your new skills. Since I pre-ordered one of the update packs for the game, I got a trainer that I basically can carry in my pocket. So whenever I level up, I can just train up my new skills. I forgot to grab my mail before I ran off here. I was eager to show you guys how combat works. So I'm going to have to do that later. So, just to speak a bit more in depth about it, this project skill there, when I threw the rock at him, that's a ranged attack. I think the range is at least 10 meters. So I like to lead off with that. Especially since it does enough damage to really hurt these guys, if not just drop them flat out. See, is that the first? No, that's the second. And another thing that I forgot to mention before is if you look under Capture Padawans, the quest I'm doing now, it says bonus, the Flesh Raider Menace, defeat Flesh Raiders, 8 out of 15. So if I beat 15 of these guys, I'll get some extra experience. And extra experience is always nice. And the last one. And yeah, I could tell he had something on him because my icon changed. So I looted that guy before I hit the command before he even hit the ground. And one of my first objectives for the quest for my Jedi Master is right here. And as you can see, it's glowing blue. So let's hit that.
Activation protocol begins. So, after the long silence, finally someone comes. I am Karen Jard. Millennia ago, I stood as a founder of the Jedi Order.
I was sent to save you.
There are Flesh Raiders in the area. Your holo projector's at risk. I'm here to save you.
To protect without fighting, a trait I wanted at the core of our beliefs. The Jedi may have changed, but galactic peace has always remained one of our goals. Activation protocol complete. Go well.
Alrighty, that was the first one, so there should be 3 more of those. And I see another cage, so I'm actually going to jump off the ledge here. And I'm going to make a beeline for this. And again, I'm going to open up with a project, which see here, that has a range of 10 meters. So I'm going to open up with that and then start using the lightsaber. And cooldown's done. And there you go. As you can see, there's this when it grays out like that, there's a bit of a cooldown, which is 6 seconds. So as you unlock more abilities and get higher in level, you get a lot more attacks that are a lot more flashy looking. They have some really cool animations for some of the attacks in the game. And I don't think I fought one of these Manka cats. Go for this guy. And I don't know if you saw on the top of the screen, but I just unlocked a new area. All these sections that are grayed out as you travel around, you get a little bit of experience for going into them. So there's a number of ways that contribute to you leveling up. And it also encourages you to explore as opposed to just sticking to where your quests are. You can just, go around, smell the roses, and see what's out there. Alrighty. Now, these guys in yellow, they're kind of passive, I guess. Like, if I don't mess with them, they won't bother me. But if I attack him, now they turn red, they turn hostile. I don't know, he dropped some loot. And there we go, there's that beam of light I mentioned before. And I'm not going to be able to get to that gauge. That guy got there first, so I'm going to leave that one alone. Although I am going to hit him with my class buff. It's just the neighborly thing to do. And as I can see my marker, I'm very close to this circle here. And there's that quest to find those missing Padawans. So let's, real quick, see what these guys have to say.
How's he looking?
He should be resting in the Jedi Temple, but if you're determined to press on, I can help him along.
Give him the last of the Kolto if you have to. We'll fight again soon. Hey! Good to see another Padawan alive out here. You're lucky those creatures haven't caught you yet.
Okay, you must be the lost
I was
Padawans.
searching for you. What happened out here?
You did send rescuers. We came seeking knowledge of the Jedi Code. The Flesh Raiders interrupted our trial.
Never fought like that in my life. We killed it, but Jaredon was badly injured.
Is he okay?
Your friend. How serious is the wound?
Pains him greatly. He should not be moving. It is not the Jedi way to seek battle and revenge while a man suffers.
That's your opinion, Mineas. It's not what we decided. Training or not, a bunch of animals won't keep us from becoming Jedi.
Isn't she right? Jedi don't give up, do they? She is wrong. Remember the Jedi Code. There is no passion, there is serenity.
That's enough, Mineas. You want to help us, we could use you. Help make the Flesh Raiders pay.
So that's one of the things I like about the game is they give you some of these moral dilemmas, and you get to choose which way you wanna play it. So I could say you're going home now, and that would be like the light side option, or you can go dark side and say let's get revenge. This character's not going to be a dark side guy, at the very least not with these Padawans, because again you can choose whichever option as you go along. So I'm going to tell them they're going home.
We're walking a dangerous path. You and your friends need to get back to camp while you still can.
But we're so close to finishing the trial.
No, we are not. I see you have a signal beacon. Leave it for us, and as soon as we have gathered our things, we will signal for a ride back.
Alrighty, so that's that quest. And now I'm going to get back on my way of opening up some of these cages. Oh good, this one's refreshed, so I can clear these guys out. Alright, so now I'm going to open this up and then get some loot. Alright, and I only need 2 more, so we're making progress. So, again, if you're a new player, you're not going to have access to this, but I'm going to cheat a little and use it. This is that rocket boost I was talking about. It basically moves you as fast as a speeder. Once you get to level, I think the default is 25. You can unlock a speeder license and then purchase a speeder, and you can use that for traveling around. I'm going to use the rocket boots whenever they come off cooldown. Ooh, and I see a treasure chest here, so that might be a bit of extra cash for me. I'm just going to open that up. There we go. And get rid of him. See what I got. I think I already had that. That's what I started with. So some of this is just stuff I can sell. Looks like this armor is a bit heavier. It says +7 armor, so I'm going to throw that on. And there. Now I'm going to continue on. Now the quests are typically close enough together where walking around it's not a hardship. It's just that I unlocked the perks, so I might as well use it. I got some more cages. And again, like if I was able to use that the trainer I had to level up, or I mean I already leveled up, but to unlock some new skills, I'd have some more abilities to show off. And all right, nice, completed that, and they give me the reward right here, so I get some credits, some experience. And basic combinations are one of the in-game currencies you can use to like purchase gear. And there's vendors, planetary vendors for each planet. So no matter what level you are, you can go to like the central hub in the game, which is basically the fleet, which you get to shortly after you reach level 10, and you can spend them there. And there should be some vendors on planet as well. So accept that, and I'm almost level 3. Great. So I'm just gonna double check the map because I got turned around, and I'm gonna head to this one next because I'm closest to that one. Now, as long as I don't get too close, these guys won't notice me. See, from here I'm fine. This looks alright. But if I take another step, there we go. Then they see you. And that's actually important to know, because there might be some times where you're just trying to cover ground and you don't really want to stop to fight anything. And there we go. So this is basically what to expect when you're playing the game, as far as how you interact with objects and what the user interface looks like. I know I changed it a little bit. Normally all this down here, it wouldn't look like that. But it's just to help ease new players and just to give you some idea of what to expect. It's not necessarily intended to be a playthrough of the whole first planet, because it takes at least a couple of hours to get through the starting planet. So yeah, hopefully this is informative, at least somewhat. And if you're curious about the game, by all means, you should check it out. It's free to play, so you can just download the game and try it out. There'll be some restrictions, like if you get beat in combat, there's some restrictions on how you respawn. Whereas if you subscribe, you can just wait for a time and respawn right where you are, or you'll have to go back to like a medical station. And there's some other restrictions. I can't really think of them all off the top of my head. But yeah, it's a fun game. Feel free to check it out, and hopefully this was helpful. Any questions or comments, feel free to drop some in the comment section. Alright, take care.